So the final step we have here today is looking at post-sowing management. So we've gone through the soil fertility, the methods and the variety selection. Just as important is what you do after you've established the new swards. So a lot of that is related to grazing management. Basically what we have here is a couple of do's and don'ts. First and very important step is that we have our post-emergence weed control spray, and Kieran is going to talk about that. Vitally important to get the weeds at that seedling stage. Just as important then is how we manage that new sward in terms of its grazing in its first year really. It's going to take up to 12 months really for a new sward to fully establish. So what you do over that period is going to have a direct effect on the long-term success of the sward. So really what we're talking about there is grazing at light covers, frequent light grazings, not letting the sward get too heavy, too high. The main reason for that is that if you let the new sward get into strong covers, the canopy is closing in, there's no light getting to the base of the sward, and you won't get any tillering. You'll be left with a very open sward, which is much more likely to weed ingress, and also it's not going to be as productive as potential. And that's why we often say to people, do not harvest for silage in the first year. It's for that very reason. Some people would say, well, what if it's a silage field? Look, if at all possible, maybe rearrange your management for that year, or definitely reseed as early as possible and maybe take a cut later on. But the longer you can leave it without cutting silage, the better. You'll get more tillering effects. Also, just make sure that in very dry conditions or very wet conditions, maybe alter your management as to when you're grazing. In very dry conditions, particularly in the early stages, you can get some root pulling. The roots haven't fully developed to be strong enough. If there's less moisture in the ground, you're more likely to pull those plants out of the ground. And obviously in very wet conditions as well, soft ground conditions can pull, or also you can damage in terms of poaching. So they're the main do's and don'ts, and continue that through the first year, and you should have a good, thick, well-tillered sward.